Welcome to Beginner's Guide to Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader, you imperialistic bastards. In this video I'll try to explain the basics, what is going on the screen and why, with some advanced things you are gonna have to know in order to play this game. Let's start with the most basic one, like 100-sided dice the game uses. Rogue Trader system is similar to Dungeons & Dragons in a lot of ways, but uses different names for similar things, and 100-sided dice where lower value is the better one. So lower the roll, the better. Looking at this attack log, you can see by this icon where rolls have occurred. So there were total of 3 rolls on this attack attempt. For hit roll 1 was rolled and we had to roll the dice under number 47 because it says 47% chance to hit. How did we get to 47%? Well, full math is right beneath it. If we put 30%, which is base value of the game for most things, add 35% from a ballistic skill, which is one of the attributes, multiply with the distance, which was outside of regular pistol range, and that is why 0.5 instead of 1 is used, and there is also 15% added weapon stat that honestly I have no clue where it is coming from, we get to 47.5, which is then rounded down to 47. So any roll lower than 47 means we can hit the target in this case. However, characters and enemies have dodge and parry values. Dodge is used against melee and ranged attacks, while parry is only used against melee attacks. Dodge and parry are separate rolls. That means if hit roll has been passed, we need to roll another time for dodge success to be determined. Like in this case. Abelard misses melee attack even though hit roll succeeded. This happened because enemy rolled lower than 69, which means their dodge succeeded. Beneath dodge value, all factors affecting it are displayed. Same thing with parry, which is only rolled against melee attacks. In conclusion, hit roll can be overridden by dodge and parry rolls. Dodge and parry are both rolled while melee fighting, which makes weapon skill attribute a priority for melee fighters. For melee fighters it is to hit attribute. Dodge and cover are used to negate ranged hit chance. Perception attribute is generally used to lower enemy dodge chance while attacking with ranged weapons. Skill checks are done with the same 100-sided dice. Every character has certain skill stat affected by the main attribute. For example, look at this Techius skill check. Our character has skill value of 45. Difficulty modifier means how difficult it is to pass the check. Higher the value, easier it is to succeed. So 45 plus 45 equals 90. That is the required percentage displayed to pass the check. Any dice roll below 90 means that we have passed the check. In this case I have rolled 61, which is lower than 90, and that means it is a success. Let's see another example. Awareness test that spotted a trap had difficulty modifier or base stat at 45%. On top of that, awareness skill bonus has been added, which is 30%. So 45 plus 30 equals 75. So any dice roll lower than 75 is going to be a success. Talking about skills, I would advise mixed party with all sorts of skill proficiencies. For each character, focus on the skills that are boosted by the highest attribute, so just continue leveling skills that were already higher than others basically. In the party I would suggest 2 people with high awareness, 2 people with high Medicae, and 2 people with high Techius. It is gonna help tremendously. Other skills are very useful too, but I would definitely double down on these 3. If unlocking has failed, then try with other party members. Every party member can have a go, but I would still suggest 2 people with high Techius to increase chance of success. When it comes to attributes, there are a couple rules to follow regarding leveling. Each archetype or class has its own attribute set they can raise occasionally during level ups. For melee characters, weapon skill, toughness, agility and strength are crucial. For ranged weapon characters and sharpshooters, ballistic skill, agility and perception are crucial. Agility is great not only because of dodge, but because many skills that boost ranged weapon-based characters are affected by agility. Psychers use willpower and can combine all forms of combat with their spellcasting, or they can be used to buff teammates, so it is hard to pinpoint other attributes that would be great across the board aside from willpower. Depends on the character and build. For example, Idira has high perception and high willpower. Why perception when she doesn't need to lower enemy dodge chance for starting spells like Shriek and Lightning since they automatically hit? Well, it is because she is operative class that uses perception amongst other attributes to increase effectiveness of analyze enemies and exploit weakness, core operative abilities. However, intelligence increases number of exploits put on an enemy per analyze enemy ability, and she doesn't have high intelligence. Operative archetype allows increase of intelligence stat, so it is one of possible upgrades if you wish to go that way, but far from the only one. I would suggest looking ahead by checking out classes after level 16 to see what path to take. Filter archetype talents. Then read those abilities to see what would be great path for each character. In Idira's case, she doesn't want to go for Grand Strategist, as it mostly uses Fellowship and Intelligence to boost their skills. Bounty Hunter, on the other hand, uses Perception as the main stat. That could be a great class for Idira. Assassin is another great choice for Idira, but it uses potentially 3 stats. Perception is the main one, with agility being second. Third stat is intelligence, which clashes with perception for assassins, as greater of the two is used for abilities. So no point going for assassin if intelligence and perception are both high, as benefits would come only from higher attribute of the two. So instead of intelligence, level agility for Idira for first 16 levels next to willpower and perception for maximum assassin efficiency. Similar way of thinking can be applied for most characters. Just make sure to immediately check archetypes after level 16 to know which path to follow regarding attributes. Also, there are gonna be many builds on the channel soon, so stay tuned for that. There are a couple things of note when it comes to weapons. Rule of thumb is that laser weapons are great for enemies in cover and with high dodge, but weak against high armored enemies, while solid and some other types of weapons are better for armor penetration but worse for targeting covered and high dodge enemies. Great way to counter high armored and high dodge enemies is to use operatives analyze enemies and exploit weakness, as it lowers armor and dodge values. How much depends on number of exploit stacks. Every time analyze enemy ability is used, couple exploit stacks are added. How many depends on intelligence attribute. Then, by using exploit weakness ability, exploit stacks are removed and armor and dodge debuffs are applied. Basically, more exploit stacks means better debuff. Use this combo a lot on every tougher enemy, like I did against very dodgy bastard in this case. Burst weapons are abundant in the game, and I would suggest using burst option as much as possible. It is highly effective even with lower chance to hit. Enemies use it a lot and you'll see quickly how dangerous that can be. So counter them with the same barrage of bullets. Tip for ranged characters is to use either pistol in offhand or shotgun in second slot, because only those two weapons can be used if enemy is in the adjacent tile, without special talents that enable shooting from melee range. You won't be able to shoot otherwise. I know Flamer can be also used from melee range like pistol and shotgun, and probably some other weapons as well. Always have a backup option. To get to best possible positions on the battlefield, to use burst, stay in the cover while using psyker powers, or sniping bastards from insane distances, click with left mouse button once on the square you wish to travel to. It is gonna display all lines of sight to and from that square you want to travel to. I can't emphasize enough how crucial it is to plan ahead with this feature. Trading works a bit different. Rogue traders have a profit factor that is increased by progressing through story and by making tough decisions. Sometimes those decisions are gonna yield more profit factor, and sometimes they're just gonna advance the reputation. Think of profit factor as global reputation throughout the galaxy. However, there is also a faction reputation. For example, we are now currently trading with Fellowship of the Void faction. We currently have only 500 out on 1500 reputation to get to the next level. If we look to the right into their inventory, you can see that there is a profit factor next to every single item. For example, Stalker gloves have 15 profit factor, 9 medkits have 10, this armored body glove here has 13, and so on. At this point I can buy anything that has 15 profit factor requirement or lower. However, to enable purchasing of these items, I need to advance my reputation with the current faction that I'm trading with. That is Fellowship of the Void. So now we're gonna go into the reputation tab. In this tab on the left side you can see what Fellowship of the Void wants the most. They will give most points for heretic trophies, Xeno artifacts, but also ship components and jewelry are worth it to trade with them. Each faction has different numbers for each cargo type. So don't trade immediately everything you have with the first faction that is encountered, because you could progress reputation with other factions faster if trading certain cargo type. Armor, ranged and melee weapons can be traded from the inventory to fill out armor kit, melee weaponry and ranged weaponry cargo. By scrolling over a weapon or armor piece, there is gonna be a number displayed at the bottom that says how much of that specific cargo type this item will fill out. At this point I just want to advance the reputation with Fellowship of the Void as soon as possible, so I'm gonna click on Show Tradable and trade everything with reputation gained displayed above the trade button. However, before I do that, I'm gonna jump to the inventory and put to trade most of the useless weapon and armor pieces. With this, my reputation with Fellowship of the Void has been advanced to rank 1, and now I can buy from rank 1 reputation every single item as long as the profit factor matches the profit factor requirement of the item. In this case I can get everything except for noise suppression helmet, which requires 16 profit factor. That's how trading works in Rogue Trader. Couple smaller things to finish the video. Respec option is available and it can be accessed by speaking to High Factotum Janus on Void Ship, with second to last option that says my retinue and I are in need of training. Last thing to leave you lost bastards with is the fact that there is really good tutorial and dictionary to go through when there is a need to check something specifically. Anyway, that would be all. Hope this guide helps and stay tuned for many videos including builds for Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader.